I shall read the name of the first runner-up and then Miss Universe. The first runner-up is Miss South Africa. Miss Sweden is Miss Universe. Congratulations. Here's your sash. You are the new Miss Universe. You've won all the cash awards and magnificent prizes, totaling more than $175,000. And now, as your predecessor, Lorraine Downes, reads the Miss Universe Creed, I want you to take your flowers and step right out and show everyone how happy you are to be our new Miss Universe.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special podcast of the Rise and Fall of Miss New Zealand. I've got three special guests, which is wonderful. I've got Daryl Schabinger. We've got Miss Universe 1984, Yvonne Ryding from Sweden.
Yeah, hello.
And we've got Darryl Jagga from...
It's pronounced differently in every country, even in my own. We pronounce it Jagga, but I am so used to it being pronounced everywhere. I just go with whatever you want to call me.
Well, welcome, guys, and thank you for joining me. Yvonne, what time is it in Sweden?
Oh, now it's almost 8:30 at night. It's
okay.
It's 8:25 at night.
Oh, cool. I love Sweden. It's one of my favorite countries. I went a few years ago. So,
oh, you did?
Yeah. Do you know Ebba?
Ebba?
Ebba
who? Ebba in the
singing
Fernando.
Abba. I'm sorry, Abba. Of course I know Abba. Actually, Agneta Feldskog I have had contact with, and she's using my products every now and then, my skincare products.
Oh, good. I was looking at your stuff online, and you do a lot of stuff, don't you? It's a lovely shoot you just did, the one was it in the forest? I saw it on your Facebook.
Yeah, we did in a couple of places. It was both in studio and on a farm, and a little bit in the forest as well.
So, Yvonne, you won in 84.
You have to remember, during that time, we in Sweden had only 2 TV channels. So it sounds like it was like, 200-300 years ago. But that's actually true. So when we landed and came into the US in the Miami airport, it was a shock seeing all these television journalists and radio, and that was the first time I saw Lorraine, and I thought she was such a smashing person. She was glowing, and she was so professional. I really got so impressed with her, and I thought she was such a beautiful role model for the Miss Universe Incorporated and for the role as Miss Universe. All the girls of us were very, felt really, oh my God, we're never going to be able to be like that. We have king and queen here in Sweden, so for me, she looked like our queen.
When Lorraine crowned Yvonne, it was the first time a blonde had crowned another blonde Miss Universe. Two back-to-back winners. Never happened before, never since.
Wow, that's very interesting.
So that's a little tidbit.
And it's real blonde. It's not fake blonde.
Yeah.
Well, there's only been, I think, 8 or 9 blonde Miss Universe winners.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Very.
There were a lot, though, in the 80s. In the 80s, there was Irene Sayers, Yvonne, Angela. I think that was it.
And Potamo from Finland.
Yes, but that was way back. I don't know, but Hillevi Rombin was very blonde as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that was way back.
Bless her. I met her several times.
Did you?
Yes.
And
He's met everybody. He's met.
Yeah.
Now, Daryl, tell us about, you went to the Miss Universe pageant as a child.
Yes, from 1980
yeah.
to 1986. I was at every pageant.
And why were you there? Did your parents...
My father was friends with Harold Glesser.
All right.
He was an executive on with Procter & Gamble, and he also was sponsor of a lot of the African pageants. Yet despite the fact that we were from South Africa, he was in no way involved with the Miss South Africa pageant, even though we were from South Africa. So, and I took an interest in Miss Universe from like 1978 when Margaret Gardner won, of course.
Right.
And being in South Africa, which not quite like Sweden, but we also only had 2 TV stations at that period. So we were very big, but we were also largely due to the apartheid era. We were very isolated from the world, insular. And at a young age, I just developed a thing for fashion. And when I saw the 1978 Miss Universe, I was so captivated by international women. And I've only ever been interested in the international pageant. I was never interested in the Miss USA or the Miss Venezuela pageant. I liked the international pageant only. And we went in 1980, the first time. South Africa was actually banned from it that year. Korea,
oh, really?
Yes. Korea wouldn't give her a visa, yet they gave us all visas. So there was no representation of Miss South Africa in that year. And I met Delyse Nottle, who was just an angel, and I was very mature I was 11, I was very mature for my age, and I met a lot of the girls and loved Delyse. I mean, she was just absolutely amazing. I met Ava, who was Miss Sweden. I thought she was the loveliest girl. And I got to learn about all these countries, and Delyse, I told her I want to be a designer, and I showed her what then must have been some very bad sketches of dresses for 11-year-old. Yet I never forget, and as you become an adult, you realize the power of people. And this is about Delyse. Delyse encouraged me. She said they were beautiful. She didn't, sometimes as adults, not children, but as adults, we can diminish someone just because we want to be honest. Delyse was very open and uplifting, and you've got to keep trying, you've got to get training. She wasn't saying this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Instead, what she was saying was, you've got to take this talent forward. But 84 was like my year. I mean, Yvonne, I didn't want to stop you from talking when you came, but I was there in the hotel when you arrived with Katrina and Ingrid.
Really?
Yes. And I saw you and talk about Tanya Clegg, who was in 84. Yeah. Wonderful girl. I mean, such a superb person. And I loved every woman at that pageant. It was just, I was talking to all of them. Still today, I have this terrible aversion to smoking. I was ardent anti-smoker. So if I saw you smoking, I didn't want to have anything to do with you. I just walked away. No, I don't like you. You're awful. And I walked away. And I remember going to Nancy Nade, who was Miss Holland.
Yeah.
And I said, Nancy, I just saw 2 Miss Universe contestants smoking. And 2 days ago, I heard them say they're all into health and fitness. That pageant had such a change in my life because I saw the best of people. I remember saying to my father, I love these girls, And my dad said, that's great. You talk about the final moment of Yvonne's coronation. I was also front row, and I have to tell you, I loved Lorraine's look as well. It took me by surprise. I always said, Lorraine's look at the end came out of left field because it was so unexpected, yet it was, she had you could see her growth in a year. To see Lorraine come out in that look, I remember it took my breath away, and I was bowled over. And I think my father, who was such an advocate for me in this, and he did this all for me, was saying, what do you think? Because my dad was tough. My dad was very tough in terms of as a designer and how women looked, that you had to be feminine. My father's whole was femininity. I think he'd cringe if he saw things today. But then he was very stickler and he said, that is beautiful. I think Lorraine ended her reign at Miss Universe that night with so powerful. I don't think she could have ended it in a more phenomenal way. That send-off was absolutely fantastic. And I agree with both Daryl and Neil that I was so blown away by that look. It was so different and so amazing. I told you, Yvonne, I loved your gown.
Oh my God. I think, I think I was the only one that had that kind of gown. But you know what?
At the coronation ball afterwards, I mean, I don't know if you remember, everyone was clamoring around you. And I did something that you probably didn't notice because there were so many people. But you remember your dress had those like swirls at the bottom?
Yeah. I can go and bring it. I have it downstairs.
I went and I crouched down on the floor because I wanted to see how do they do that. And I crouched down with my thing, and I remember going back to South Africa explaining to the lady who used to teach me sewing. I said it had like a wire, and she said, "Okay, I can tell you exactly how they do it." But there, with all the clamoring, I'm busy looking at how your dress was finished.
Oh well.
I thought you had such a sense of innocence, Yvonne. I watched the whole thing last night. I thought I'd better do my research. And Daryl, remember on the last podcast you were talking like many years there was not a clear winner, like any girl could have won. I think with your year, Yvonne, you just won every competition. You won the preliminary, all the sections. You were the highest score, so it was so clear you were going to win.
I remember when Yvonne walked out in the Parade of Nations, because that was my favorite part because that's the first time you saw the girls. And when she came out, I go, she's like a porcelain doll. She's going to win this whole pageant because she was just a standout.
Yeah. I also, throughout the contest, after 3 weeks, I actually was constantly saying, this is going. I thought the top three from long before were going to be Yvonne. I thought it was going to be Nancy, Miss Holland would be in the top three. And I also correctly thought Miss Philippines would be in the top three.
I loved your dress. I thought it was awesome. It's like traditional. Was it traditional Swedish?
No,
sort of design,
you know what? No, you see, you wouldn't believe the whole thing. But first of all, the national costume is the boring kind of national costume that we have. So that's only this wool dress that is awful to put on when it's that hot. But they brought 2 gowns. That was the only thing that I had to choose from. 2 gowns. One of them had 2 flowers on each breast. They looked awful. And then it was this one. So I had nothing else to choose from. There was only that one I could think of. And for me, when I came to Miami with that dress and I saw all the girls had, there was really cleavage and all that very fancy and sexy gowns. I had, it was up here and there was long sleeve, and then it was like, it was not sexy at all. But in the same time, I would say it really fit me as a person, because I think I felt, I felt that this dress is the way, the way I want to look in this competition, because I'm not the sexy person in that way. So I wouldn't be able to, fit in that type of dress. So for the moment, with my age and my look at that time, it became perfect, I think. My little, when I think about it nowadays, as a grown woman.
Yvonne's score that night for her evening gown, at that juncture, it was probably the highest score ever given for an evening gown, if I'm not
I would have to look, but I think I remember it being very, very high. The judges...
It was the highest I'd ever seen at that point, given to a gown. I think it was like 9.455, and it
wow,
was very high.
What a wealth of knowledge! That's amazing.
Up until about 1996, it's all gone after 96.
It's a funny story, and Daryl, you probably remember this, but I remember Miss Sweden in 1980 in Seoul, Korea. Her roommate was Sean Weatherly, who ended up winning Miss Universe.
Yes.
Miss Sweden did not like her evening gown, so Sean lent her one of her evening gowns. I don't know if you know that story.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so because if you look at the video from 1980, Miss Sweden comes out in this very sexy evening gown and is lent to her by Sean. So I thought that was funny that, you know, the girls get to be good friends during the week, and I think a lot of times they swap clothing, or at least they used to back then. So it was fun to see that.
That was nice of Sean. It really was nice of Sean. Yeah. When I became Miss Sweden, I had to do all that by myself. And I was not used to that. So I had a friend of mine, an elderly woman, that helped me so I could buy my cocktail dresses and evening gowns that we were supposed to bring with us for all kinds of occasions during these 3 weeks we were there. And we didn't have much to choose from, you know, so it was very different what a lot of other girls have come with and have helped with in their countries.
They come with like 50 dresses and a hairdresser and a makeup artist.
Yeah.
And,
I used to be very amused at the pageant. I was very amused. I think after 1980, I was fascinated to watch. I don't know why I had a fascination being a teenager, but someone would take me to see the trunks come in. And they'd like point, well, you see those 60 trunks over there? And I'd go, yeah. Well, those are for like 60 contestants. You see those 40 trunks over there? One's for Miss Mexico, one's for Miss Venezuela, one's for Miss Colombia. I would like get this whole rundown of luggage. It was fascinating to watch. You know, etc.
Yvonne, did you know you were one of the favourites to win?
My chaperone, Doris, said at one point that it was a lot of rumors that I was, you know, in a good position to maybe winning. But, you know, well, I didn't want to hope too much. And I really, you know, I wouldn't dare to think that really, because it was, you know, too much for me to think that would actually happen for me. But I heard it, but it was, you know, right in the end. And the last couple of days we were there, my mom and dad got 2 tickets and flew over from Sweden to join, which I was really happy with, because now they have this experience with me, and I'm so thankful for that. My dad said, well, somebody told us that you have a chance. Yvonne, you have a chance. And I was like, we were really, you know, well, we don't know. We'll see, you know. So it was, I think I just thought to myself, well, take one step at a time now, and don't have to, because I was so afraid of Bob Barker and his questions. I was terrified because my English was so bad, and I was not able to understand him, and what shall I say? You know, it was very, very difficult. I thought I was so afraid.
If you were afraid, if you were frightened, you masked it very well. I'm sure you guys agree with me. None of us would have been any of the wiser, you know, of your fears. I
was going to say, at the end there, you all were serenaded by Tom Jones. That must have been a fun moment.
Yeah, it was crazy. Oh, I thought it was so embarrassing, you know. I felt embarrassed, and he was like going on there with his pants and all that, and and I was like, oh my God, this is not happening. And I'm standing here, and you know what? I remember growing up, my mother was such a fan of Tom Jones, so I remember her looking at TV shows on the telly with Tom Jones. So now I'm standing there with this. It was really, it was amazing. I thought
Did they sing that song like "You Look Like an Angel"? I mean, I was watching it last night. I was laughing because they'd never do that now, would they? They'd never have a 60-year-old man serenading.
No.
Or would he be 60 then? He probably was in his 50s. These young girls, like 21 or something.
I know. Actually, I met him, like maybe 10 or 15 years after that, because I was doing a TV show in Sweden, and he was one of the guests. But I said, well, Mr. Jones, you probably don't remember me, but you sang to me in '84. And so we were laughing at that. And after that, he asked me out. But I said, I was married. I don't have the time. Thank you.
Dream on, Tom. Dream on. Got standards.
Was there another contestant in your head that you thought maybe she will win?
Any one of the Latin girls, Miss Venezuela, Susan, Miss Colombia, or Miss Peru.
I liked Holland. Holland was nice.
Yeah.
Holland.
Yeah, Nancy. And Nancy is such a nice girl. We have contact now.
Oh,
so it's very nice. Yeah, we do. It's really nice.
Isn't that funny that we can all talk on this?
It's amazing, I think.
I was mesmerized, I have to tell you. Growing up in South Africa, we had no Latin American community at all. Then. Now we do, of course.
Yeah.
But we had no. So I was always intrigued by this Latin American contestants.
Mm-hmm.
I was afraid of them in '84, so I steered away. I didn't want to. I wasn't going to go near them. But I remember Miss Uruguay, Yisa Prensati, and Miss Ecuador, Lorena. I just remember how kind they were to me, and they were these lovely, generous girls. Myrtis, Miss Honduras. They were just all these wonderful. Susanna, Miss Colombia, adored her. I mean, I thought she was the sweetest.
She was very nice.
So they were lovely.
We have contact, not all of us, but lots of us have contact, through Facebook, and I think that's so amazing. I think that's so nice, even though it's not, every week and all that, but every now and then, and it's very nice.
Have you met Daryl, Yvonne? Daryl?
Yeah.
This one? You've met him in real life? Yeah. Oh, cool.
No. Yeah. Daryl? No, we haven't met.
No, I wasn't in the pageant your year. I was there in '83 when Lorraine won, but unfortunately I didn't get to go to the '84 pageant.
Right.
So you lived in New York for the year, Yvonne, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Wow. What an amazing experience. And for a young nurse, were you a model?
Yeah.
You were a model too, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. Yes, I had worked as a nurse for almost 3 years in Sweden, and then I started to modeling, and actually, I had won the Miss Sweden pageant, and then there was a couple of weeks in between. I went to a go-see at my model agency. We have a lot of girls working in Germany for catalogs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, then she said that she wanted me to come to Germany. And then I said, well, first of all, I have to, talk to my work, but also that I had to go to represent in the Miss Universe pageant, so I wouldn't be able to go to Germany until in the beginning of autumn. And when she heard that, she said, well, okay, so you're not going to come back because you're going to be Miss Universe.
Oh, cool.
She was the first one that said that. And it was 2 weeks before I left for the pageant.
Do people always label you, oh, there's Yvonne from 84? Like, they always, if you're at a party or at an event.
Some people are really happy and are, telling you that they're, congratulate you and are really happy. But most people don't say a thing. I felt that I had to, give so much of me to them so they would see that I was not the way they thought I was. I can get them to understand that I am Yvonne and I'm not, I'm not like this. I like you as a person. I know that you are doing your job and I'm doing my job, and let's do this a really good one together. This was very difficult, but most of the times when we were finished with the interview, they would say to me like this, you know what, Yvonne, it was really nice meeting you. You are really nice. And I think to myself, well, thank you, I said. But also, they reveal themselves by saying that, I think, because it tells a lot more about them than about me. People have a very special way of meeting people that, especially when it comes to beauty, they are very difficult to handle that in some way. And it's so crazy. Don't tell me why, but this is nowadays it's better because of Facebook and internet and all the different types of TV shows, streaming shows that's on now, but that was not in the 80s.
You'll always be Miss Universe 1984. I think it's an amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many
that was
people...
something that Ingmar, you remember the boxing, Ingmar Johansson, the boxing, he told me, he said to me, remember this, Yvonne, a champ is always a champ. So that was nice of him saying that.
So Mr. Jagga, who is your favorite Miss Universe?
I can say Yvonne's my favorite because she is, of the years I went to, I loved Yvonne when she won. And I love Rainy Sayers, yes, and I loved Shawn Weatherly when she won.
Yeah, Shawn Weatherly, yeah.
Of the 6 pageants I went to, I really loved. I thought Barbara Palacios Tade was wonderful. So naturally, these women are always going to be in my strong posse because I was at their pageant. But as I said, the 84 pageant was very special. 85 was also special. Those were nice girls in 85 as well. Yeah. It was a really nice girl. And I I loved your gown, your send-off gown in 85. I thought that was one of the most amazing gowns. I mean, and the ironic part is that gown's relevant today, just like Lorraine's is relevant today.
You know what? Then that one I sketched myself.
Okay. Oh, wow. The yellow one.
But I didn't make it, but I sketched it. And what was the name of them? You probably know them, Daryl.
Oh, Rex.
Oh, Guy Rex.
Guy Rex.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They made my gown. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought that was fabulous. I mean, that was just a really, it was just wonderful. But, guys, the pageants in that era were also among the best. The set designs, the music, there was something about them. I mean, that you just
it wasn't all pre-recorded. You had a live pageant.
But those set designs, Daryl, were amazing. I mean,
Don Shirley was the set director.
Yeah,
and, when they went to Miami, you had the Art Deco behind when the girls came out in swimsuit. You had a fountain.
Yeah.
The sets were unbelievable.
If I could just say one last thing, you were a fabulous Miss Universe, but in my opinion, you were Miss Universe, just like Lorraine, Shawn, and all those ladies. You were Miss Universe, in my opinion, in the heyday. That is my opinion. When Lorraine won Miss Universe in 83, that was another time. It came unexpectedly because New Zealand hadn't fared well in Miss Universe. You'd had Delyse was the first one to really come up. And then was thing, but it was a fresh, she also had a freshness about her. But, that was my heyday. I'll hold on to those 12 years.
Yeah.
When Harold Glasser was involved, those were really great pageants. He put on a great program. I think he understood the purpose of Miss Universe.
Yeah.
And, CBS did a great job in televising the pageant.
Yeah.
Daryl, I didn't know that your father had been involved with Procter & Gamble. And of course, they were a major sponsor.
They were, yeah.
Do you still have it on TV? Because in New Zealand, they don't play it.
No, and unfortunately, we don't have any Miss Sweden pageant at all.
No, we don't have Miss New Zealand anymore either.
No, it's really too bad. A lot of girls that had become Miss Sweden or the first runner-up in Miss Sweden that are doing television today. Is a lot of them doing television today that have been, represented Sweden in the Miss Universe pageant. So it's actually a very, very good way of starting to see how things are working, with television and radio and all this, limelights that you have, and what you experience when you are behind the scenes with doing the shows, and also working together with the girls for 3 weeks. I don't recall any of us being, having problems with each other. It was totally the opposite. We had so much fun together. We laughed and enjoyed our companies, and we didn't feel it was like competition. Today, I think maybe it's a little other story. And today you have a lot of help with fixing your faces and lips and breasts and all that. That was before. We didn't do that kind of things. You see a lot of other type of television shows that I feel is totally nuts today, whatever they call it, Paradise Hotel and all that. That is kind of okay, but it's not okay to do, like a runway show with different types of segments in it. So it's so strange, I think. So I hope that because I feel that Miss Universe, every now and then I go in and look and read a little bit on their website, and I think they are really following and modernizing and developing the Miss Universe shows.
I think it has really changed. I think for me, the biggest change I see too, I know like when you won, the prize package for Miss Universe was tremendous. I think you were guaranteed a salary and personal appearances to make a certain amount. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you win a car?
Yes, I did.
And now the prize package is basically you get, rent free in New York for the year, and the girl's not traveling much. You're not really promoting any sponsors because there aren't any large sponsors left. So, but I think an important part that, Yvonne, that you hit the nail on the head, the girls now do much more charity work. Breast cancer awareness is one of their big platforms, AIDS awareness, Best Buddies program. So you'll see the title holders do a lot of great things with those charitable organizations, not only in New York, but when they travel overseas. So perhaps, that's a change that is good. But I would like to see the prize package kind of lifted up, and this kind of entices, I think, young women to enter. Something at the end of the rainbow. The thing that I would like to see disappear is there's a huge franchise fee that countries have to pay to send a contestant. And the franchise fee is based on the size of your country, and the popularity of the pageant. So I don't know the exact amount. I can imagine, like for Venezuela, it was probably a very huge amount, but some of these tiny countries, they can't afford these huge franchise fees.
No.
These little island nations. I mean, Miss Bermuda had been at Miss Universe for years, I think, partially because of that reason. So a lot of countries, I think I shouldn't say it should be free, but they need to work on getting more countries represented at Miss Universe.
There's no Miss New Zealand anymore. So.
Well, I think this past year there was no Sweden, there was no Greece, there was no Germany, there was no Austria, no Switzerland. I mean, those are big countries in Europe.
That was one thing, though, that I think Harold Glasser was so good at. He was so good at putting the Miss Universe, incorporating a Miss Universe title so high. It was such a quality to become Miss Universe. It's too sad, I think.
I think, my father used to say Harold Glasser was, excuse the crude expression, a ball breaker. He had a standard and he went after you relentlessly.
We should do a photo shoot of the Miss Universes together, and we have your dresses. And Daryl, you can style.
I want you can do that. But I just love a reunion of the 84 girls or 84 pageant. Just get all the girls, plan 6 months ahead, and I'll arrange a dress for all of them. Everybody can just send me their sizes, and we'll make a dress and do a fabulous photo shoot somewhere, maybe in Miami. Not in the summer. Oh.
Carol, I don't know if you know that I actually have Sean Weatherly's evening gown.
You told me.
Really?
You told me.
She didn't own it. It was made. It wasn't even made for her. She borrowed it from a designer, from Stephen Urich.
Oh.
And Stephen Urich had it for years in his showroom in New York, and he was moving, and I knew he still had it. And a friend of mine knew that I collected Miss Universe memorabilia, so he goes, "You should call Stephen. I know he still has it." Because it was a beautiful gown, and I thought this needs to be preserved.
She
so
wore
someday,
it USA as well, didn't she?
Correct.
Yeah.
So I'll probably at some point donate it to a museum in South Carolina where she's from, because it needs to be displayed.
Where is she now today?
She lives in the LA suburbs. She's married. She has 2 children, and she retired from acting. And the last I heard, she was selling real estate.
Oh.
But she's on the Miss USA or the Miss Universe chat board we have. So send her an instant message. I'm sure she'll chat with you.
Can I just take a picture of all you now?
Should we all smile?
Yeah, please. I just have to do this, Is this like...
Are you going to be in it?
There we go. Excellent. I just want to say it's been wonderful to see both of you.
Yeah.
Good.
And Yvonne, I have to tell you, there isn't anything different about you, in my opinion, from 37 years ago. I mean, it's like deja vu. It's like time has stood still. You're the same person, same beautiful person. And I'm sure you guys agree with me.
When she said she had a grandson, I'm going, wait, that can't be possible.
I also, me too.
Oh, yeah. He's Edwin. He's 3.5 years old. So I have 2 girls. I have Sandra, who's going to be 32 now, and Natalie, she's going to be 26 in November.
I agree with Neil. When COVID has vanished, we all need to get together and have a big party.
Oh, that wouldn't it be wonderful? I would love it.
Absolutely.
Let's have that as a goal.
Yvonne, you'll like this little tidbit. The very first Miss Sweden is still alive and lives in Mexico. And I'm friends with her son on Facebook. Her name was Anne-Marie Tisler. That went to Miss Universe, yes.
Okay. Because well, the only they're talking about that we've seen here is Hillevi Rombin.
Yes.
That was the first Miss Universe from Sweden. Unfortunately, she died. You remember that in a plane
That was very tragic.
Yeah, very tragic. And me and Margaret, Margareta, who was Miss
She lives next door. She lives in Iowa.
Our neighbor.
She lives in Iowa.
Yeah, Iowa. Yeah.
So I'm trying to get her. I go, you're so close, and she loves to travel. And she has a motorhome.
Yeah.
And I said, next time you're traveling, you need to stop in Chicago.
Get her on the line now, Daryl. Get her on the line now. Just joking.
I wish I had thought about it.
Well, the thing with Margareta, she didn't want to be Miss Universe. And if you watch her crowning moment, she's going like this. Like, no, I think she, with a little prodding, she probably would have crowned her first runner-up. And you could tell that she did not listen in rehearsal because the master of ceremonies is pointing for her where to walk because she probably had no idea. So if you get a chance, you have to watch the clip.
Do you know who's really beautiful?
So
Is the Mary Stavine. She's really beautiful winner, wasn't she? She was world winner.
Miss World.
Yeah.
I only know
she was
her.
a Bond girl.
She's a James Bond girl, and I'm a total James Bond nut. So that's how I know her.
Yeah. You know, in the early days, in the 50s and 60s, a lot of the Miss Sweden stayed in the U.S. They had movie contracts.
Yes.
And I also know, I don't know if you've ever met her. Her name is Stevie Aberg. She was Miss Sweden in '64, and she became a real estate agent in Beverly Hills. And so I got to meet her and have dinner with her one time. Very lovely lady.
Wow.
Hey, we should start a reality
so interesting.
show. We could have all the ex-Miss Universes living in a villa together.
Yeah, wouldn't it wonderful?
And the public can vote one out every week. It'll be like Big Brother, Big Miss Universe.
Yeah.
Yvonne will be like, I nominate this week. 2 points. Do you have Big Brother? Hey, that's what I wanted to ask you, Yvonne. Did you do Dancing with the Stars?
Yes, I did.
Oh, Lorraine won that.
All the practicing that you had to do to become good at it. And so, but it was a lot of fun. So I was, I think became 5th run. Yeah, I think I was in the 5th place. I think something like that. Anyway, I had a great time.
Have you ever met the King of Sweden?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
A couple of times. One time was in New York at the ambassador had a dinner there. I think it was towards Christmas, something right before Christmas there somewhere. And the Swedish ambassador had this, little cocktail party. And then I met the king the first time. And then I met him a few more times here in Sweden.
His children are so gorgeous, both the girls and the very beautiful.
I know. Yeah, they're beautiful and they are doing a great job. Victoria, that is going to become queen. She is so popular.
Good.
Very nice.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for doing the podcast. I feel
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome, Daryl. It's great to have you in the movie. You'll all be on the big screen in New Zealand in February.
Thank you so much, Neil. Well, thank you so much. It was great meeting you all. I am so happy. And let's keep in touch, really.
Definitely.
Come out to my place here in the woods. I live right on the countryside.
Right. And Daryl, Delyse sends her love, Mr. Jagga. Delyse says hello and sends her love to you.
And back at her.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you're all invited to Chicago anytime.
Oh,
just saying, Chicago.
Yes.
Okay, guys.
And please say hello to Lorraine as well, Neil.
I will. Yeah, she's done her interview already. So she actually wrote on the Facebook page how wonderful she thought it was that I was interviewing you. So.
Oh.
Yeah. So I'll bid you goodbye, guys, and thank you very much. You'll see the podcast in about later. 4 days.
Yes. Okay. Take care of yourself.
Okay.
Bye.
Catch you later.
Stay well.
Bye.
Yeah,
see you all later.